Good evening, folks, and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us here on the OzCro Soccer Show. It's episode 7 for the year, 62 in total, and it's an absolute pleasure to be with you here tonight. My name is Tonci and a very big welcome to a man who just cannot wait for the middle of June to come around. Can't come soon enough. Ante Grabovac. Ante, how you doing?
Excellent, Tonci. How are you doing? Yes, we're all anticipating the middle of June, particularly with so many players in form and obviously a couple of medal winners that we shared at the start of the week with, of course, Kovacic and Guardiola winning the English Premier League as well. They're in form. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of good news around Europe with the Croatian players. And, of course, we've got Modric playing in the Champions League final and stuff as well. So, yeah, fantastic.
It's all happening, and we're going to have a look at the squad that was announced by Zlatko Dalic just yesterday at our time, and we'll go through it. We'll give our opinions. Ante, you'll give yours, I'll give mine, and I'm sure we'll have everyone out there who are tuning in. They'll pop their 2 cents worth in the comments section, in the chat lines. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love your opinion. It's football, such a subjective game, isn't it? Everyone's got an opinion, and we'd love to hear what your opinion is. And we'll certainly try and read out as many of those comments as possible. Ante, also, we've got a super huge show tonight and a very, very important guest coming on the show. Tell us all about what awaits us on tonight's show.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be doing a live cross to Canberra, where the O'Connor Knights currently are leading Gungahlin 2-1. I mean, we've heard about red cards. Gungahlin are down to 9 players because they've had 2 red cards, but funnily enough, even with 9 players, actually equalised to make it 1-1. And then, at the moment in the 67th minute, O'Connor are leading 2-1. So hopefully we'll cross to Canberra and we'll see what's going on there. And we'll also crossing over to St Albans, seeing what's going on with their Australia Cup fixture. But of course, our very, 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 very special guest is the Women's Mariners medal winner for 2024, as well as winning the goal of the season. So she's won a lot of trophies this year. The one and only Bianca Gallic, who, of course, one of the favourite guests of our show last year as well.
Yes, indeed. She had us very, very much entertained, and we were laughing with her. We're looking forward to having Bianca on the show. And, of course, this weekend, the A-League Grand Final, Bianca's team, Central Coast Mariners, are in it, and they'll be taking on Melbourne Victory. And Ante, you might be heading up the highway, is that right?
Yeah, I believe I am. I'm looking forward to that. It should be an interesting match as a neutral. So, I'm really looking forward to it and just taking all the atmosphere. And, it's always good to watch a big game, isn't it? Of course, we've got the English teams in town, down your way, down in Melbourne as well. So, which, we've got the A-League All-Stars and all those sorts of games as well happening on Friday. So, it's all happening, lots of football.
And speaking of all happening, lots of football, we're going to take a break. And when we return, it is the news desk, a section of our program. We've got a lot of Australia Cup action. We've got a lot of league action as well. And lots happening overseas in Croatia as well, folks. Don't go away. It's time for the news desk.
Who's to say who's young, who's old? Compared to who? Age is complicated. You see, most people really stop getting older at age 26, but their bodies just don't get the memo. So, hidden inside most over 50-ish-year-olds is the soul and spirit of a 26-year-old with the same loves and desires and hopes and dreams, just in slightly different packaging. Why waste time wondering when you could be enjoying? It's your life, and life is what you make it. So, what are you waiting for?
Over to you, Ante, the news desk.
Thank you so much, Tonci. And g'day, Petard, one of our biggest viewers. He's always tuning in. Dobro večer. All right, going on to the weekend's league winners. Last week we only had 3. This week at least we're 1 improved, which we're up to 4. So Brisbane Knights ended up winning their match, and they're in first place, 5-2 over North Brisbane. They've got a very good record. So keep on going, Brisbane, and they'll keep climbing up those league ladders. In terms of the O'Connor Knights, now there was a fantastic article in Canberra this week. Of course, they're in action right now with the Australia Cup, but 24 matches they're undefeated. So pretty much the whole year they've gone undefeated since the same time last year, which is absolutely brilliant effort. And they're undefeated in their league, 5 wins, no losses, no draws, and they defeated Canberra Olympic by 2-1. Adelaide Croatia, they're coming 5th, and they had a 2-0 win over Adelaide United, which, of course, is the feeder club to the A-League club. And it's good to see Hersel Zagreb get one over the ex-Sydney Croatia player, Jimmy Patikas. He was coaching the Inner West Hawks, and Zagreb, courtesy of Ivan Marash. Beautiful header just before half-time from a corner. He just glanced it in from the near post, and they got the victory with a 1-0 win over the Inner West Hawks. So there you go. At home this week, we've got Guelph, Croatia on Saturday afternoon. Glenorchy, who are coming 2nd in their league, they're at home on Saturday afternoon as well. Saturday night, South Coast United are at home as well. Hersel Zagreb are at home against the Newcastle Jets reserves at Penzas Park. This is their 5th home match in a row. Penzas Park, unfortunately, on Saturday night, Sydney United lost there by 2-1, and then on Sunday, Hersel Zagreb ended up winning there. So it was a mixed bag last weekend at Penzhurst. Sydney United, they, as I mentioned, lost. They led 1-0, but lost 2-1 to St George City. They're back playing at home for the first time in a couple of weeks against the Central Coast Mariners Academy. So we're starting the second round. Basically, we've gone through 15 rounds. We've got 15 to go in New South Wales. ACT NPL, Canberra, Croatia at home to Ugali. Unfortunate name there, but anyway. And in terms of this week away, we've got a whole host of teams away. Adelaide Croatia Raiders are away to the Croydon Kings on Saturday afternoon. Newcastle Croatia coming first are at home against the 4th New Lambton Juniors. And so let's hope they get another victory there. The Western Knights are away to Perth Red Star. St Albans Dynamo, they've got a tough battle against the 2nd place Avondale. North Geelong Warriors, they've got a tough battle on Saturday afternoon against Brunswick. O'Connor Knights, who are coming 2nd, are away to the Tigers. Melbourne Knights are away to Port Melbourne. There were no Victorian winners at all this week.
No. Things need to pick up, guys, down south. They just need to pick up. They're not doing it well at the moment.
Absolutely. Dandenong are away as well. Gold Coast Knights, 1st versus 3rd, so it's a big game on Saturday night down at Carmichael Park. Let's hope Gold Coast Knights can get the victory. And the Brisbane Knights on Sunday, 6 p.m. at Ron Proud Field. There you go. They're playing the last place team, so hopefully they'll win. This week,
the Australia Cup.
Yeah, we had 2 huge wins. And those celebration scenes, if you haven't seen them, look at our Facebook page. We've got courtesy of Karl Zivkovic. Thank you so much for the wonderful goal and celebrations. 3-1 over Katara South. Now, the importance of that win is actually Katara South are a league above Newcastle Croatia. So fantastic in there. And so that was a major upset. And the Glenorchy Knights needed extra time, 117th minute winner over the Devonport Strikers. And that brings them to the final of their state competition and almost in the round of 32. And we've still got the Western Knights, St Albans playing tonight, O'Connor playing tonight, and Sydney United playing tomorrow night. If you go back over to the schedule there, Tonci, as you can see, Sydney United away to Wollongong at Macedonia Park if you are in the Wollongong region or if you're travelling from Sydney. Now, on Monday, the 10th of June at 4 p.m. down in Tassie, Glenorchy Knights are playing, as I mentioned, the final of the Yakosia Cup. That's a big sort of tongue twister, but it's actually one of their former players who passed away in the year 2000. So that cup is named after them, and that's a state cup, and that's also comes through as the round of 32 qualifier.
Yeah. I believe it's called the Milan Lakoseljats Cup. Yeah,
Lakoseljats, that's better.
That's better. Not bit of a typo error there. Yeah, but
and sorry, yes, Tony, thank you for picking me up. Daniel Marash scored, not his dad Ivan. His dad Ivan was in the stands, of course. Yes, 100%. So Daniel Marash scored for Herschel. Thanks for correcting me there. And Newcastle, Croatia, to be advised who they're playing as well.
Awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of the Australian Croatian roundup. It's going to be time now to cover what is happening overseas in Croatia.
Here's some futsal.
And it's the futsal, and that is the big news that happened last week over the weekend was the futsal grand final. So futsal Dinamo defeated Olmisum from Omiš in the fifth and deciding tie in Zagreb in front of like 4,000 people, fans at the Dom Sportova. Incredible result, this one. It was a 3-1 result. And unlike in the outdoor game, the Dinamo fans gave the Olmisum's players a round of applause. You know, you don't get that often. But futsal is, I love it. I absolutely adore this sport, Ante. And I just, to me, seeing what's happening in Croatia is just really, really incredible. Like it's taken over basketball as kind of the number one dvoranski sport, as they say, indoor sport. And look, there's some really good clubs, some really strong clubs. And look, it's good to see Dinamo, for example. Well, I guess this club is loosely aligned with Dinamo. More or less, it's the supporters, the Bad Blue Boys, set it up several years ago, back when they were banned or when they were boycotting Dinamo Zagreb, and so obviously they've got a lot of supporters. But in that first division, you've also got Torcida, which is kind of loosely aligned with the actual Torcida supporters. It's, I guess the best way to describe it, it's more of a we'll put the ladder up. It's more of a kind of, they go by the name type of thing. But there is a club called Mali Nogometni Klub Hajduk Split, which will next year be playing in the Prva Liga, which is kind of like the second tier competition. They, along with Bjelovar, they will be replacing Brod 035 and Futsal Gorica. And in the Premier League, Rijeka and Aurelia, which is a team from Vinkovci, they will be coming up into the Premier League, and they'll be replacing a team which was about 10 years ago, one of the heavyweights, Vrgorac, which is a small village not that far from Imotski and Metkovic, sort of down south of in southern Dalmatia. But it was at one stage, along with Makarska, along with Omiš, well-known centres for futsal. Uspinača Gimka is a Zagreb club, kind of considered a smaller Zagreb club, but they will be they won't be in next year's competition. So look, it's getting more and more popular, and as you could see by some of those scenes, but like look at the crowd, like we on last year's show, one of the last year's shows, Ante, we had the amazing scenes that were created by or produced by the Futsal Dinamo supporters, and it's almost got to a stage where now everyone expects that the Dvorana, that the Sala is going to be sold out, that there's going to be 4,000 fans, it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. It's like I said, it's become kind of it's almost become kind of accepted now, which is incredible. But yeah, futsal is doing great guns, and as we said last week, Croatia has qualified for the Futsal World Cup later this year in Uzbekistan, after a hiatus of about close to 20 years. But that's it for futsal. Let's move on to the real football, the outdoor.
That's a long time between that year, let me tell you.
Yeah. That's the Druga Liga. Let's jump on to the Supersport Hrvatska Nogometna Liga. We'll get to that Druga Liga shortly. the last game of the season, or last round of the season, coming up. But there wasn't much to this. Well, actually, there was. There was a little bit of drama, believe it or not, after these this round of matches. Osijek defeated Rijeka 2-0, and that assured that Osijek will be fighting for a place in Europe next year. 24 hours later, guess what? Zoran Zekic, the Osijek coach, gets the flick. Like, it's very, very fickle being a coach in Croatia, that's for sure. Hajduk defeated Gorica 2-1. Ivan Perisic started off, but he did come off a little bit later on as Nikola Kalinic came on. Probably played his last game in front of the Hajduk supporters at home. Not probably, definitely did. There's speculation that he could be appointed the sports director, football director at Hajduk. And I guess for our in our situation, our cases, for our interest, it was good to see Noah Skorko come on with about 25 minutes to go in this game. Played pretty solidly. He's obviously not a standout. He's only a young fella, and there's a couple of young players that were in this team, but you can definitely see he figures prominently in the Hajduk team of future years in the next few years to come.
Yeah, it's great to see him getting some minutes. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Slavia Belupo 2 against Dinamo 3. Now, Luka Jakirovic, who is Sergej Jakirovic's son, the coach, he also made his debut, and the media over there are saying, well, this kid's also, a promising talent, and it's not because his old man's the coach that he got a gig, but wouldn't harm one's chances when their father is the head coach of Dinamo. But nonetheless, the kid made a debut. Lokomotiv and Rudeš fought out a high-scoring 3-3 draw.
Rudeš got a draw, yes. Hey, look at that. Rudeš has only got 8 points for the season, and Dinamo got 81. So Dinamo got 10 times the amount of points that Rudeš did.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Okay, let's moving along to the Prva Liga, and the tense situation at the top of the competition standings continues. There's 2 rounds to go. Zrinski Osječko 2 points ahead of Šibenik. It's pretty close at the top. Zrinski defeated Sesvete 1-0. The goal, well, yeah, it was very controversial. Claims of offside, claims of all sorts of refereeing decisions going the wrong way. But yeah, look, really, really interesting stuff happening in the Prva Liga. Šibenik defeated Vukovar at home, 2-1. That last goal coming, I think, 10 minutes from the end. It was very tense stuff, actually, for anyone that's been able to watch any of these games on internet TV. That was a very, very tense game. The rest is, I guess, not really important. Solin can mathematically still kind of save themselves, but it looks like Solin and BSK. Solin will be out. BSK looks like they'll be in the playoffs. And the Druga Liga, well, pretty much Opatija has got it. There's 2 more rounds to go, but Opatija now are 4 points ahead of Radnik Križevci after Radnik suffered a 2-0 loss to Grobničan. Now, Grobničan is a little club, well organised, just outside of Rijeka, so they did their near neighbours a world of good. Did them a huge favour. And in the Bosnia and Herzegovina Premier League, Borac Banja Luka defeated Igman Konjic 4-3, and thus they have secured the title in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Zrinski will finish in second spot, 5 points behind Borac. And that is it for the Croatian scene. I guess now all attention turns to the Euros, doesn't it, Ante? But there is still the cup final to come, isn't there?
Yeah, the cup final next week. Of course, after the first leg, it was 0-0 at the Maksimir, which was interesting. So we'll see what happens in Rijeka, between Rijeka and Dinamo. Just a quick cup update while we're talking about cups. St Albans lead Green Gully 1-0, which is a bit of a surprise, but well done, St Albans. Early goal there. And O'Connor Knights are still leading Gungahlin by 2-1, even though Gungahlin have got 9 men. You'd think they'd be leading by a bit more than that. But anyway, a win is a win, right? Hopefully they hold on for that victory.
Yeah, and we'll be catching up at the end of this show with John Bilosh, the Vice President of St Albans Dynamo. He'll be coming to us live during the halftime break there, and hopefully that scoreline will either stay or it'll even increase to 2-0 or 3-0. But we'll be catching up with John live from Churchill Reserve. Until we'll also be crossing over to Canberra, and apparently it is a freezing night in Canberra. But we'll be speaking to Tomislav Simic, who's part of the coaching crew there at O'Connor Knights. Hopefully he'll have some very, very good news to tell us a bit later on as well. We're going to take a break. When we return, it is time to talk Euro 2024, and we'll be talking about the Zlatko Dalic's squad that was announced yesterday, our time, and we'll go through that with a fine-tooth comb. Folks, don't go away. It is the OzCro Soccer Show.
EcoDuct is a Geelong-based business which manufactures an environmentally friendly low-profile duct system that is specifically designed for high-rise apartment applications where limited ceiling spaces are common. The innovative duct system is used to exhaust kitchen and bathroom ventilation where there are limited ceiling spaces. The only Australian-made PVC duct supplier in the country, EcoDuct, has full control over its stock and has an unlimited supply to ensure all projects run smoothly. They are 30% cheaper than the imported products and are 100% Australian-made. Made from best environmental practices, their products are made of up to 50% recycled material and is 100% recyclable and compliant to all Australian standards. For more information, call EcoDuct now on 03 5278 5573. That's 03 5278 5573, or visit their website at ecoduct.com.au. EcoDuct are proud sponsors of the North Geelong Warriors Football Club.
Welcome back to the OzCro Soccer Show. And before we go any further, big shout out to Brenton Ray. He might not be Croatian, but Brenton keeps us well informed of everything that is going on. Brenton hails from Victoria. So thank you so much, Brenton. By the way, he does an incredible job with all the scores each week in, week out, fixtures, whether it's the local leagues, whether it's the NPL competition, whether it's the Australia Cup around Australia. So thank you so much to Brenton, and thank you for tuning in as well. Ante, yes, Zlatko Dalic, the Croatian selector, yesterday decided on the final squad to travel to Germany. Tell us a bit more about this.
Yeah, well, he's, like we mentioned before, there's a lot of players in form, so hopefully they'll get together and bring it all together when they play the matches at the Euros. And they've got a couple of practice matches, one against Macedonia and one against Portugal as well before the Euros begin. And yeah, fantastic squad. Obviously, in goals, if you want to start from there, Dominik Livakovic, Ivica Ivušić, and Nedeljko Labrović. Do you want to take over with the defenders?
Yeah, so the defenders, we've got Domagoj Vida, Josip Juranović, Joško Gvardiol, Borna Sosa, Josip Stanisic, Josip Šutalo, that is, Martin Erlić, and Marin Pongracic.
Indeed. Interesting to see Vida's, still hanging on there, and good on him. He's a fantastic asset, I think, to the squad, and cheers up the dressing room as well. In the midfield, we've got the maestro. Will this be his last tournament? We probably think so. Luka Modric, and hopefully we can send him out a winner. Of course, we've got the informed Manchester City midfielder Mateo Kovacic alongside him. Then we've got Marcelo Brozovic, Mario Pasalic, Nikola Vlasic, Lovro Majer, Luka Ivanušec, Luka Šučić, and Martin Baturina. So, yeah, a lot of good. The midfield is very, very strong.
Very good, yeah. Lots of experience, some exciting young guys coming up through the ranks as well. And there's a bit of depth there as well. Now, up front, we've got Ivan Perisic from Hajduk, Andrej Kramaric, Bruno Petkovic from Dinamo, and then we've got a couple of Riječani from Rijeka, Marko Piazza and Marko Pasalic. And then we've also got Ante Budimir, who has been in fine form in the Spanish La Liga. And then there's several players there on standby, including Borna Barisic, Duje Čale Tacar, Christian Jakic, Dominik Kotarski, who did very well in Greece between the goals, Toni Fruk, Marin Ljubicic, Igor Matanovic, Niko Christian Sigur from Hajduk, and Petar Sucic. Ante, you mentioned Domagoj Vida.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a bit of a controversial selection in your eyes?
I don't think so. No, it's a
Is he
good
over the top, or can he still offer a lot to the Croatian national team?
He'll be a backup player off the bench if needed, and potentially replace the centre backs if required. I think he's good. I mean, the good thing about the defenders is the amount of goals that are being scored at the moment at club level. Joško Gvardiol has been scoring for Manchester City, and we've also had Josip Stanisic scoring at Bayer Leverkusen as well. So look, if we've got goals coming from defence, hopefully. Yeah, that's a fantastic sign. But I think Vida's there. I think it's a bit of a respect as well by Zlatko Dalic. He likes to, keep a tight squad and, the family outfit. So I think that's a bit of a family selection as well.
Yeah, folks, what do you think? Is not just say Domagoj Vida, but there's been also talk about the goalkeepers as well. Should there have been other goalkeepers as well included as well? But look, my thoughts about Domagoj Vida. I think. Remember, it's a squad. It's an entire squad. So there are players that are going to be your main starting players. There are players that are going to be kind of direct replacements for whoever is in the starting lineup. And then you've got those fringe players there that, hey, whether it's training, whether it's, they have to provide that a level of intensity, that's the word I'm looking for, competitiveness. And as well, as you say, there might be that dobri duh, as they say in Croatian, in the dressing room. And I think Vida is definitely that.
Yeah, and he's a great singer. So, we always need someone for a sing-along. So.
Yeah. And look, I think that support staff, particularly with some of the younger players coming up through the ranks, is just as important as your starting 11, and I think
if you look at that list, obviously it's ranked in sort of appearance order, and he's had 104 appearances. So everyone across the defense, the midfield, and the strikers have had over 100 appearances for Croatia. So, I think that is part of the reason why they're there as well.
Yeah, and I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Ante. I think that's a very good point you make. There's a blend of experience, there's a blend of youth, there's a blend of real talented players who are just not yet, making their mark internationally, but are ready to do so. So I think that's the importance of having this good balance, this good blend of experience, but also having this, a lot of the youth as well. Because end of the day, as you said, Modric, will this be his last tournament? I think so. Perisic, could this be his last tournament? I think so.
Probably.
Definitely Vida's, yeah. So I think, it's a good point that you make. I think having those players across those key positions, and then backed up by some of these up and coming talent. Yeah, the midfield. What do you think? Where do you think? I mean, Nikola Vlasic is another one that's probably a little bit of a. Would we say? Well, the Croatian press is saying it's controversial because he's not 100% fit, and neither is Ivan Perisic. But Pero's definitely getting back, and we've seen him in action with Hajduk in recent weeks. But Vlasic, good selection. Not a good. Could someone have taken his spot?
Potentially, but look, he's been a staple of the squad of late, and he's got a lot of great experience in Italy as well. So, I think when he has come on, more often than not, he has performed for the national team. So, and obviously, I think potentially another family member in terms of getting picked for that particular reason. And interesting question from Petar Finka. What's your guys' opinion on where Modric will play next season? Well, it looks like he wants to stay with Madrid, but I hope he comes to Sydney United next year. But
yeah. Well, is it the rumours? I mean, it hasn't yet been really announced or anything like that, but he's been offered a dramatically reduced contract for 1 year, and he wants to stay. I think he's made his fortune. He doesn't really need to worry about that. But maybe there's some unfinished business. Maybe he wants to finish one more year.
Beckham's knocking on his door as well. He wants him over in America. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, should he stay at Madrid? I mean, that's an interesting one. I mean, look, it'll be interesting to see what happens at the Euros, and how far Croatia can go, and how far they can see him off as far as his international career. Will that mean, if he does retire at the Euros, will that mean that he will then be able to focus 100% on his playing career?
Surely, if they win the Euros, that should be it. But he should probably have a farewell at Maximian. I think that would be more of a sort of tribute.
Yeah. It would be interesting, definitely. Yeah. Up front, we've always in recent years we've been a little bit, I guess, the best word to describe it is thin. But Perisic, Kramaric, Petkovic, that's the old guard there. Ante Budimir, who's now that must be a really, really positive sign for Dalic. He's been in fine form in the La Liga. I think he's second or something like that.
One stage he was second until he had that horror of a penalty that I think the whole world watched. But he's been in fine form and scoring a lot, which is great to see. Perisic, I saw him over in Perth last year, and if the guy is fit, he just can terrorize defenders. So hopefully he is fully fit by the time the actual Euros begin. And Petkovic has been in good form for Dinamo, of course, and he put in the big goal, of course, against Brazil at the last World Cup, and hopefully he can do more of that. But I think we've got the good thing is we've got goals all over the joint, whereas before we were relying on the strikers a lot. Obviously, we kept saying we haven't had a out and out striker like Mandzukic type of thing that scores regularly, but potentially this Euros we might not have to rely on the strikers so much, and maybe we'll get goals across the field. But obviously we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Tony Chavar says his comment is squad is fine. Vida will be there as a team motivator. Yes, I believe the same. Could play a 3-5-2 system with two wing backs with Kramer and Petkovic starting. That's an interesting one. Yeah, and that's where potentially you could have goals coming from those the flankers there as well. So that's an interesting point that he says. Yeah, Peter Finca says Inter Miami, Modric and Messi playing together, and Suarez. Could you imagine that?
What a team!
Yeah, but Messi is there's no sign of him letting down, is it? I've watched a couple of those games, a couple of highlights of him playing with Inter Milan. Now, could you imagine him and Modric on the same team? And then obviously Suarez, and then they've got some of those other Latino players there. It's an incredible team. That absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's broken the salary cap, that team, I think.
Well, look, David Beckham, is it? I'm sure he's not short of a quid. Ante, all right, the big question now, and I'll bring back the team the squad lineups. All right, your professional opinion or your gut feeling, it doesn't really matter. How far can Croatia get in the Euros this year?
Look, I'm always hopeful. I'm an optimist. I think we can go very deep in this tournament. Obviously, it's not an easy group. We've got Italy and Spain in there, but we've never lost to Italy. Hopefully, we're not going to start now. And Spain's always been a bit of a tricky one for us. But if we can get that, win or draw in that first particular match, and then beat Albania, and then of course get the victory against Italy, then we'll be on our way. I think we will definitely be there in medal contention. If all goes our way.
Yeah, that's the thing. What sort of Croatia will turn up? Yes, there are aging legs there, particularly across the midfield. When the substitutes and the fringe players come on, will they grasp their opportunity? A lot, there's a lot. If the right Croatia turns up, we could be heading, semis, finals even. If it's the wrong Croatia that turns up on the day, well, we could be packing our bags.
We can do like the last World Cup, one win and then just draw, win on penalties, right? And then win the whole Euros. So you never know.
You never know.
There you go, 3-1 O'Connor Knights. Thank you so much, Brenton. So that's fantastic.
There you go. So that's brilliant news. And that we will talk to Tomislav Šimić from the O'Connor Knights a little bit later on, as well as John Bilos from St Albans. Dynamo will be crossing over there. But in the meantime, after this little short break, we'll be speaking to our very, very special guest tonight, Central Coast Mariners player, and she's the winner of the Mariners Goal of the Year and also the Mariners inaugural Women's medal, Best and Fairest medal. So we'll be speaking to Bianca Galic straight after this short break, folks. Don't go away. It is the OzCro Soccer Show.
Secure your sporting future with Citizen HR, your ultimate safety net. Feeling the uncertainty of the world's sporting landscape? With political and economic instability, it's time for a backup plan. Consider becoming a citizen of Croatia with Citizen HR, your pathway to a second passport for sporting resilience. Take control of your sporting future and ensure your family's protection with a stable and secure country. Citizen HR offers expert guidance and support to make the sometimes confusing and overwhelming process of obtaining a second passport for sporting purposes a breeze. Mariana shares her experience. I'm so glad I applied for Croatian citizenship when I did. I'm concerned about my family's future in Australia. I can't wait for us all to move to Croatia. Citizen HR made it all a breeze. Don't wait. Secure your sporting future today. Download Citizen HR and leap into a world of sporting safety and security. So what are you waiting for? Head over to https://citizenhr.app today. Use the code AUSCRO for 50% off any biography translations you order.
Indeed, and welcome back. And look, it brings me great pleasure to have a lady back on our screens fresh from a fantastic season in the A-League women's competition this year for the Central Coast Mariners. The first time the Mariners women's team has been back in the A-League, and none other than the Women's Mariners medal winner for 2024, and as well as winning the gold season. She's got a bag of medals, and of course they won the club championship as well. We have the fantastic and talented Bianca Galic on the line. Bianca, good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for having me back, guys.
Now listen, I've got a hot question. We were talking about the Croatian national team. Bianca, how far do you think they can go?
All the way, I hope. I mean, wouldn't that be, wouldn't that be what we want to see after they nearly clasped it so long ago in a couple World Cups ago? And obviously, the last bit that we want to see is them obviously winning and adding more trophies to their collection.
Now, what about the Matildas at the Olympics as well? Do you think they can go far?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Matildas have obviously had a couple of setbacks with injuries, probably to a lot of key players at the moment with Sam Kerr, Katrina Gorry, and obviously some of the younger ones coming through as well. But they've got players coming through and a heap of talent in there. So it'd be great to see them go far as well. I've got a couple of friends and a lot of the girls I play against in the A-League in that squad as well. So for them to do well is, what we all want to see.
Yeah, Bianca, welcome back to the show again. We had such a ball having you on the show last year that we couldn't wait to get you back on. And what a way to get you back on. You've had a phenomenal year. I know last year you were really looking forward to Central Coast's first year in the A-League Women's. But you've had a phenomenal year, and we've got some footage here of the penalty against Sydney FC just recently, and the celebrations and the ecstasy. Did you kind of, when the season started, were you expecting to have this kind of a run in your inaugural season?
I mean, personally, this season was a big one for me because we were also chatting that I was coming back from an ACL injury as well.
That's right.
So to have the season that I had, I was, beyond stoked. I mean, I had set high expectations, which I spoke to you both about last year, and we fulfilled most of them. We did want to make the grand final and get some of our own silverware as well, but I mean, to have the season that we had,
Yeah.
group of girls that were put together on probably short notice, and the way we gelled from start to finish. I mean, definitely looked shaky at the start, and you could see there was growth to be done, but by the end of the season, we were sort of that underdog team, and I think a lot of teams feared playing us, because we just pulled goals out when we needed them, and we never really stopped. Every game we punched it out till the end, and no team was ever sort of safe. And yeah, I mean, you can see in that clip as well, we went against Melbourne Victory in the semi-final, and we ended up winning on penalties. I was very stoked and nervous to be taking that penalty that obviously won the game. And I mean, you can see how excited everyone is, from players to coaching staff to people on the bench. It was wholesome to know that we had come from such small beginnings and get that far in our season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got to say, obviously, it's the longest W League season on record this year, and probably haven't watched as many W League games as I did this year because of yourself and the other Galich, of course, Daniela. So I was following both of you. But yeah, tell us about the Mariners. I mean, obviously, the women's team did so well, and now the men's team are in a grand final, and you won the club championship. Is there something special going on in the waters of the Central Coast?
Oh yeah, haven't you heard that?
Do you tell?
That's why they've only got 3 sides to their stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
The back, they're going to leave the water.
Yeah, I mean, the Central Coast itself, there isn't too many bigger sporting teams. When you obviously go up to Newcastle, and in Sydney itself, there's heaps of NRL, AFL. There's heaps and heaps of teams there. And I think with Central Coast in particular, it comes down to the fans being our 12th man on the pitch. Every time we had a home game, the fans showed up. We had heaps of family there. But the stadium, if you've ever been or ever seen pictures of it, is just amazing. And to play in it is a whole nother level. So I think for our initial match, we ended up getting 5,000 or 6,000 people, which was just incredible, because it really shows how much the women's game has grown, and how far it has come, especially coming off the World Cup and all the hype of the Matildas as well. The men's, in terms of their season, they definitely had a rocky start, but you can tell now they've formed and found their own feet, and they've won, combined with us, club championship, and now they're going on and hoping to win a grand final on the weekend. We again wanted to make the grand final, but still proud of how far we came.
Yeah, Juric put a stop to that, right? But I got to say, I was watching that, particularly that first match, and you put a pearl of a ball through to we won't mention her name, one of the attackers, and she skied it. And unfortunately, it looked to me easier to put in the back of the net. I mean, Bianca, do you just hold your head when you? The ball was spectacular. I mean, I used to put one of those balls through maybe a year when I used to play all age. Let me tell you.
I need proof, Ante.
I do too, Ante. If we can track some proof down, that
semi-final. So those 2 semi-final legs against Sydney FC. Obviously, Sydney FC went on to win the championship. Were they the best team, or do you think Melbourne City were the best team, or do you think? Obviously, you think the Mariners were, but amongst the 3 of you, were you really the 3 best teams in the competition?
Look, the top 6 this year, this is the first year they've done top 6 as well, was probably one of the most competitive final series that I've watched or been a part of. I do believe the top 6 that made it were meant to be there and meant to compete. Newcastle was probably another underdog team. They obviously versed Melbourne City in some of the prelim finals, who went in to make the grand final. Newcastle were very strong. We were strong. Melbourne Victory, who we came up against as well, were quite strong in our previous matches. I think they had beat us once and we had drawn once. So coming out of that with a win, even if it was on penalties, showed that anyone who showed up on the day was going to take it. And even looking back at the grand final as well, Melbourne City play such a nice style of football. They keep the ball really well. They keep high possession. But I guess when it comes down to football, it's about who puts it in the back of the net, and it doesn't matter about the stats of possession. So Sydney FC pounced on their opportunity, and they obviously came away with the win. Sydney FC have that trend. They've got great finishers, and they have great people behind those finishers putting the balls in. So I think
it was the grand final of two Croatian coaches, right? In terms of we had Ante Galic on one side and Dario Vidicic on the other, right?
Yeah. The battle of the Croats, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, both teams were deservedly meant to be where they were, and I think Sydney came away with it because they took their chance.
Yeah. Now, Bianca, when it comes to talking about taking chances and scoring goals, one of your goals was absolutely electrifying, and this goal here that we've got footage of, powerful left footer there. What a goal this one was against Perth Glory. This was nominated and won the Mariners Goal of the Year. Congratulations, well done on that. But that's a fantastic achievement. So the inaugural Goal of the Year, winner, well done.
Thank you very much. There was heaps of great goals over the season from our team. I'm absolutely stoked to have received that. And I mean, at the end of that clip, you can see me sort of looking up, and just I have a sigh of relief after scoring that, because I think I'd hit the post and the crossbar way too many times before that goal. So I'm glad, at least if I get a goal, it's going to be a good one.
And last year you were telling us as well, a big part of you moving to the Mariners was your actual coach. And, how important was she in terms of getting this squad together, obviously, as the first time back in the A-League for the Mariners? And obviously, it's not easy building a squad from nothing, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's one of the biggest things when you do bring a new squad into the league. There is so much research that needs to be done, because you're not just looking for the best players, you're looking for good people as well that are going to carry the culture and the values that, you want your club to be represented as. And I think Husband did that really well, and our results just showed for it. We weren't the top names of the league, but we all worked together and we got the job done.
Yeah, one of the big games that I actually watched, I was going to go to that game, but it was pouring rain. It was a Wednesday night at Leichhardt Oval. And you guys just, played so well that game, and you got a bit injured in that game. But it was, the grit and determination to beat Sydney FC that evening was fantastic.
Look, not going to talk too much about it, but it probably was a really great point in our season. To give everyone context, our keeper did get a red card in that game. One of our centre backs ended up going in as goalie, and we ended up winning the game 2-1 with a penalty in the last minute of the game. So, if that didn't show what Central Coast is about and the fight and grit that we took into every game, I don't know what did. Obviously, going into one of their home matches, we always knew it was going to be a fight, but we like to put ourselves in the hardest possible situations.
You always learn from that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, Bianca, we've got a very cold Tomislav Simic in Canberra, just waiting to get on. We're just going to bring him on, if you don't mind. Just hang about. There we go, Tomislav Simic from Canberra. He's got a big smile on his face because O'Connor Knights have progressed through to the next round of the Australia Cup. Tomislav, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, great, Tonci. Thanks for having me and the club on the show. Yeah, and we did progress 3-1 in the end today.
How many red cards in the end? Were there 7 or how many?
Yeah, we won 3-1, and our opponents notched up 3 red cards. So pity them.
Now, we're getting reports that the assistant coach also got the red card for them. Is that right? So 3 players plus an assistant coach. Is that right?
Well, you got to win in something, and all the best to them improving their discipline this year. Good luck.
And Tomislav, what's the magic? We read about this phenomenal streak now, 365 days, a whole year that O'Connor Knights have not lost a match. I mean, what's going on there? What's so good about O'Connor Knights this season?
I guess it's just a good bunch of young men very well led through the coaching system and through a phenomenal captain in Michael Adams and leadership group around him. We set pretty high standards for ourselves and have exceptional characters around the club. And we all pitch in, work together. We don't have as much access to infrastructure as most of our rival clubs have, and in comparing our infrastructure to that say my old club St Albans Dynamo has, or Melbourne Croatia has back home, it's chalk and cheese. So we make do with very little, and like what I like to say every now and again, gradimo selo. We're building a village here, and it works. It's working.
Well, speaking of Michael Adams, Tomislav, he was the scorer of the first goal. How good's your memory? Who scored the other goals?
Heggie scored the second, and Michael Adams scored the last as well. So Michael Adams.
And Gungahlin also, like yourselves, undefeated in the league so far this year. So it's great to get a win against them, right?
Always good to beat Gungahlin.
Gungahlin, 6 games, 6 wins at the moment. They've got a positive 17 goal difference. You guys, 5 wins from 5 games and a positive 8. This week you come up against Tigers, 4th placed side. How do you know much about them? Are they going to be a tough side? It's away from home, is that right?
Yes, over at a new facility over here in Jerrabomberra, which is over in New South Wales. A phenomenal facility that was built out there by the New South Wales government, and we're actually having the pleasure to play. I believe is going to be the first league game out there, so we're looking forward to it. The Tigers are a great team. They've got some good, strong players and experienced players in the team. Every game that we play, every team wants to knock us off, so we always have to be at our best.
And there's one more round before the round of 32 in Canberra, is that right?
Sorry, the round of 32.
Is there one more round before you reach the national stage?
Yeah.
For the Australia Cup?
Yeah, that's right. So we got the final against the winner of Monero and Tuggeranong in I think it's coming up.
Go O'Connor, reach the national stage. That'll be fantastic.
Yeah, no, it'd be magnificent for the club and just rewards for some of the characters around this club, and the amount of effort that people put in is truly phenomenal, and it's a pleasure of mine, and I know everybody else around me, to serve some of the individuals that are leading this club.
Yeah, excellent. Tomislav, thank you for joining us on this bitterly cold night. We can see people in the back have got their hoodies and what you're not scurrying away. But thank you so much for warming the hearts of all the Australian Croatian supporters around Australia with the news that O'Connor Knights are through to the next stage of the Australia Cup.
And just a shout out to BIANCA GALIC. I know your cousins were right next to me today.
Are they?
Just a shout out to you.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys won.
Cheers.
Good on you. Thanks, Tomislav. Thanks to Tomislav for joining us at such short notice, and thanks to Alex Trninic from O'Connor Knights for organising it. Now, Petar Finka says, guys, was Bianca the girl who got selected to play for Croatia earlier this year? Bianca, tell us all about that, and more congratulations on the way. But being called and being selected to be part of the Croatian squad, how did that come about? And tell us how it went.
Thank you. Yeah, it went really well, actually. I was contacted by the Croatian Football Federation, and one thing led to another, and before I knew it, I was on a plane to Croatia. So I spent about 10 or 11 days over there, met all the girls, met the coaching staff, had a look at the facilities. We were based in Zagreb at that point in time. And pretty much trained every day. We headed over to Wales at one point. We versed them. And then we had a game at home as well in Zagreb. I wasn't eligible to play at that point in time because I was still applying for my citizenship, which has been lodged, and then everything in my end has been completed now. So I guess I'm just waiting from their end for them to do what they can do to make it happen. I guess they're qualifying at the moment for the European tournament, which will be next year in Switzerland. So depending how we go in our group, we've got Kosovo, Ukraine, and Wales. So they've got another camp coming up in June, and then another one in July. Depending on my citizenship status, I'll be able to play. But yeah, will be a fantastic opportunity if it comes about.
Now tell us the standard of some of those players there. For people that watch and follow the Croatian league, I know there's a couple of teams like Osijek, for example. Hajduk have done well, Dinamo, as well as RNK Split. But the actual quality of the players that are selected in the Croatian national team, could the majority of them, say for example, play in the A League here in Australia?
Yeah, I think quite a few of them would actually do quite well. There are a large range of where they're from. So some are from Croatia, but a good portion of them are also from surrounding countries. So I didn't know actually before I went over there, but there's quite a few that play in the German league, in Switzerland, in France. So it is quite spread out. I am probably the furthest away, having to travel 24 hours. But yeah, speaking to them, they didn't have jet lag for an hour flight where they had to come from. So I was pretty frustrated at that point in time. But yeah, look, a lot of them come from those surrounding countries as well as the clubs that you mentioned before in Croatia. Probably those three main clubs are the most competitive in Croatia. And most, I'd say, of the team would be fairly competitive in an A-League environment. When I asked them if they'd like to play in the A-League, they told me, A, it was too far away, and B, that there's too many insects in Australia. So I had to quote how many spiders I saw the size of my hand, and they told me they couldn't handle it. So there you go.
Now that's an interesting thing. For a lot of footballers, and we hear this both in the male area as well as obviously now the female area as well, that Australia just doesn't seem to be a destination for particularly young footballers who've got the future ahead of them. Maybe some of these old ones who have already had done their day and what you're not. I know we saw Martin Jakolic make a bit of an impact this year for Melbourne City in the A-League, but is this something that you almost become a little bit of a pioneer, particularly for members of the Croatian diaspora here in Australia, going the other way, going to Croatia, and then Croatia being maybe the stepping stone for a European career? Is that how you kind of see the situation in the female football sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think with anything, in life and football related, if a door opens and an opportunity comes about, you'd be silly not to take it and see what lies after. I think by getting my name out there and even potentially playing with the Croatian national team, there'll be other scouters watching from there from all different types of clubs over Europe. And that could open a door that I guess hasn't been opened from A-Leagues itself. There is so many opportunities that we don't see and can potentially see if we, take that large step that, is sometimes scary, and you are going across, the other side of the world as well. So it's a massive factor to consider, and you're obviously thinking about other things back home, like your family, any jobs you might have started if you're studying and things like that. But I think at the end of the day, if it's opening a door and there's opportunities you want to see, go for it.
When you received the call, did you think it was a hoax? I mean, what was your reaction when you first received the call from the Croatian
Yeah,
Federation?
I mean, I think I was super confused, and it took me a couple of days to figure out if it was legit and sort of whether I was actually going to get on this plane. And then once I think I saw the flight itinerary, and I was like, holy crap, okay, this is actually happening. I
Yeah.
actually need to let my work know that I'm not available anymore. So
And what was your coach Emily Husband's reaction when you said, I'm going over to play for Croatia just before the finals, right? Because that was the timing.
yeah, it was crazy timing. It actually worked out really well. It was in the international break as well that the Matildas took. So for us, we only had a friendly game that weekend against boys up at the coast. And I did have to obviously miss quite a lot of training sessions just before the finals. I got back, I think, maybe 3 days before we played that Melbourne victory game. And I definitely felt it in the legs, 120 minutes, and then to take the penalty. The penalty was definitely not the speed I wanted it to be at, but you know what? It had the right accuracy, so I'll take it. But what was she gonna say? You know, she was super excited for me, and she said, "You just got to do it." So I think, if anything, I was the hesitant one. I think it was a big step for me to take, and I'm really glad I did, because I came out the other side knowing a lot more about myself, but also football wise, what I can do and how I compete with European styles.
Yeah, and you weren't only traveling, via plane a long way. You're traveling from Sydney to Central Coast, right? How many times a week were you doing that?
Probably 5 or 6 times a week.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah.
How long does it take you? What, an hour and a half, 2 hours?
Because we're on the south side of the coast, we're just off the highway, so probably an hour if we're traveling. So I'd probably leave home at about 5:45, so 5:45, and then probably get there just before 7, and then on
Was
my
that AM or PM?
AM.
AM.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
mate.
So
Get that right.
AM. That's why the traffic was so much better. If it was in the afternoon, I think we did 1 afternoon or 2 afternoon sessions, and it took everyone from Sydney about 2 hours and 15 minutes to get there.
Gosh.
So we
Wow.
said, get rid of that
Yeah.
straight away.
And
On top of all of that, you graduated as well as a physio now, right?
I did.
Congratulations, official. Wow. So
Thank
That's a big
you.
year of
you're a
speed
busy
for
lady.
you.
Massive year. Yeah. So I finished up my degree at the end of last year, and in true university form, they decide to do your graduation 6 months later. So,
Yep.
I started working this year as a physio and trying to combine that with football as well has been hard, but I've got a fantastic boss. He's actually Croatian as well. And he is super excited about everything when it comes to football and the national
I'll
team.
give him a plug. What's the mob called? What's the company called?
He's at Lenko Physio.
Lenko
Hedisha
Physio.
is his last name.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thanks. That is really good. Tell us then, Bianca, at the moment, are you taking a break now, obviously, other than Croatian national team duties, or are you, waiting for the next A-League season to start with the Mariners again, or what are you up to in between here?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I can't sit still. I think, during my ACL injury, I was just itching to get back out there. And
Yeah.
I think, I had a, 2-3 weeks rest, and then I had the itch already to get training again. So I've just started training up again with my MPL team, Sydney Uni, and I'll probably play a couple of games with them. But I am planning a decent holiday with my family, about 6 weeks to Croatia, actually, in June. So we're going to see family, then
For
we're
the
going
Euros.
for the Euros. But mainly staying in Croatia, and then we're going all the way down the coast. And
what's the grand final tip for the men's? Is it going to go to penalties like yourselves, against Melbourne Victory, or in the semi-final, or what do you think?
No, I back the men's always. You always got to back it. I'll go 2-1 win our way.
There you go. You go. Bianca, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Have a little bit of a break. Enjoy that. And look, we'll definitely have to get you on probably towards the end of the year because who knows what'll happen in the life of Bianca Galic.
Once you played with the Lovica, you're a Lovica for life. Let me tell you, the Croatian national team of the Lovica.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Congratulations on so many fronts. But thank you for joining us on tonight's show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to be back already.
Good on you. Thanks, Bianca.
Wow, look at that. The Mariners Player of the Year, Bianca Galic, and just a fantastic interviewee. Let me tell you, I really enjoy when Bianca's on the show.
Absolutely. Really colors the brightens up the show. We're going to take a very, very short break. We're trying to get a hold of John Bielosh at Churchill Reserve in St Albans, but there are some technical issues. It looks like they're having problems with internet, so we're going to try and get a hold of him if we can. Okay, hang around, folks, and we'll be back very, very shortly. Welcome back.
Yep.
And we're trying to get John Bielosh on the phone.
They're still leading 1-0 in the 51st minute after a 90-minute goal. So
we've got John on the phone. John, can you hear us?
I'm going to go downstairs, Tonci. I haven't got reception at all.
We've got you on air now, John. We've just got you on speakerphone. Ante, can you hear John?
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Mate, what's the score? What's the state of affairs at half time?
Yeah, so we're just started the second half and we're up 1-0. Team's playing really well.
Green Gully, a team that defeated quite emphatically a few weeks ago in the league competition, but tables have turned, or we certainly hope that's the case. John, who scored the goal for Dinamo in the first half?
I think it was Ramsey Carter scored the first goal, a great cross, and a header into the back of the net, which was fantastic.
Awesome, mate. Has the second half started?
Yeah, it just started. Probably a couple of minutes in. Boys are playing really well.
Maybe Tuesday night suits them.
It'll be fantastic for the club, that's for sure.
Yeah, Ante goes, maybe Tuesday night suits them a little bit better. Maybe a few more games should be scheduled on a Tuesday night, hey?
No, exactly. The boys, look, there's normally the old boys are up in the members area. But tonight it's around the 50 age, 50 plus, I reckon it's around there. So it's a younger members area tonight, that's for sure.
Well, mate, we wish you all the very, very best, and people can tune into Dinamo TV this Thursday to get a full roundup of the Australia Cup, and hopefully, if Dinamo gets through this defeats Green Gully, who will they play next in the next round?
I believe there's one more round to get through to the next stage of the cup. So I believe there's one more round, and then we're on a national stage. So fingers crossed. Let's go Dinamo, yeah? Yeah,
absolutely. Thanks, John, for joining us despite a little bit of the technical issues. But once again, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, boys. Internet here in St Albans isn't so good. So thanks, boys. Keep up the great work.
Good on you. John Bielosh, the Vice President of St Albans Dinamo. They need to invest in some Wi-Fi, strong Wi-Fi. But, nonetheless, it's good news. Dinamo leading 1-0. So that brings us to the end of tonight's show. It's been a great show, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's always good when we've got some live action from Canberra and Melbourne, and obviously Bianca and her story. I mean, it's so exciting. She's been selected for the Croatian national team. Interesting news that we were sort of messaging each other last week. Ante Milicic has become the Chinese national women's coach.
Yes.
So it's amazing to see where our coaches are ending up. So, yeah.
And the Matildas, was it announced today, or the squad for the Matildas was announced today for the 2-match series coming up in early June, or is it late May, early June, against China I do believe in Adelaide and in Sydney. So, yes, there's going to be, there isn't much of an Australian-Croatian flavour with the Matildas these days, but there will be with the Chinese national team of all things. So great to see that happening there.
Brilliant to see that.
Next week, we hope to have Western United player and former Canberran Stephen Lustica joining us on the show as well. He'll be talking a lot of things about the A-League season just gone by, his own academy that he runs in Melbourne, and also one of his students, Jordan Vonya, who we talked about last week, has gone over to Hajduk Split and has reportedly signed with the juniors over there, and will be playing in Croatia. So that is absolutely fantastic news. I believe he's an under-15 player, if I'm not mistaken. That's what awaits us next week, and we're hoping to get another big signing, another big guest for next week, Ante. But yes, we're going to have lots of football from now until then. And until next week, mate, good night, and good night to everyone who tuned in tonight.
Indeed. And Petar Finka, Tony Cruz has just announced his retirement after the Euros. What will Modric do now? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Modric can step up and keep playing. Let him play.
That's right. Folks, good night.
Like a nudge.